Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I'm going to share with you guys what I have been doing with my book pages. So I know when I initially started thinking about doing the junk journals, I was thinking to myself, what the heck do you do with all the book pages when you got a book? Because that's kind of how the junk journals are created, by using the books. And well, it's one of the more popular ways to create the junk journals, but it's not necessarily the only way. Anyway, point being is, what in the world do you do with the pages? So I wanted to share with you guys what I have been doing with my pages as of the last couple days. So one of the things that I did was I took a couple pages and I just tore it to bits and created a collage in my journal. So I already have a video for this out. I will just show you the page itself open, where I made the collage, and that is one of the things that I did with the pages. Also, something else you can do with the pages is have a hard time finding one. There we go. Is you can actually put them inside your signatures as just an extra page. So something else that you can do is you can use the book paper as scrapbook paper. Like in lieu of your traditional scrapbook paper, you can use book pages. I've actually seen a lot of people do that, and it looks really, really neat. So one of the things that I've done with this particular book that I have torn to shreds and that I have showed you, I don't have a whole lot of it left. I have a very small stack of it left. Like, this is what I have left. But I took a lot of the pages and I glued them together, and I used 3 different types of glues, and I wanted to go over the different types of glues for you. This first glue that I have is Aleene's Tacky Glue. This was probably my least favorite glue to work with for this particular project, and the reason is because it is so thick. It is very difficult to spread with your brush, and if you only put it in spots, you have a lot of open space in between the pages that isn't covered with glue. So you have to spread it with the brush in order to get the full coverage, but it is so thick, it is very, very difficult to spread it with the brush. I did ink a couple of the pages just to show you what it would look like. It was inked, and this is what the pages look like. You can use these particular cards for cards. You can make little postcards. You can make little inserts into envelopes and pockets and tuck spots and such like that with using these. I did leave a couple of them non-inked. Basically all I did was, once they were glued, I did wait for them to dry. Some of them did not dry completely, but I did wait for them to primarily dry, and then I just ripped around the text, and that was it. If some of the text got ripped, like this one, then it was alright. I mean, I was okay with that. I did not ink all of the edges though, because this is kind of like prep for future, I don't know what I'm going to do with this yet kind of thing. But like I said, you can use them for tuck spots. You can use them for like creating your own little postcards, all kinds of stuff like that. So that's the Aleene's Tacky Glue. That was my least favorite. This is probably my favorite, which was the traditional white glue. This brand that I used is Jot. It is from the Dollar Tree, and I believe you get 2 bottles for $1. This was my favorite because it was nice and thin. You basically just poured it on, spread it with your brush, and very quick, very easy peasy. The only thing with this one is it does take a while to dry, and I think it's because it is so wet. And because it takes a while to dry, I think you almost have to lay the pieces down completely flat in order to get like an uninterrupted seal, if you will. But in some cases, the glue did change the integrity of the pages. Like this one, you can't really tell, but this one's got like a crinkle right here. But I actually like the crinkles. I like the cracks. It changes the integrity of the paper, and I like that. This is a stain, an original stain from the book. Again, I inked some of the pages, and then I left some of them blank. And that was it. And I will show you guys another video after I do something with them and show you guys what I do with them. And then this one was just as easy as the white glue. This was the This was the Play School Jumbo Glue Stick, also from the Dollar Tree. It is $1 for the whole kit and caboodle. I think it's just one stick for $1. Again, I inked some of the pages and then I did not ink some of them. But this one, you have a nice even coat. It's very straight. The integrity of the pages are kept intact. It's nice and smooth, easy to go on. And again, same thing with these. I just waited for them to dry. I left all of them together for about a day, and then I just ripped out the text block itself. And that's it. And so now I'm left with a bunch of cards that I can use for as is. Like I can use this as is, or I can decorate it. I can use this as is, or I could decorate it and create like a greeting card, or you know, whatever. I forgot that paper. And so that's it as far as those go. The next couple things that I did was, out of those particular book pages, was I made little tiny little pockets. And these are pretty simple. I will show you exactly what I did. So, you take a little pocket like this, or a page. You have a single page. You fold it in thirds, just like that. Actually, I'm going to take a new one, because that one, it's not folded right. I mean, it is, but I don't know, it's hard to explain. Alright, so you take your paper, and for this particular project you do want a single sheet, so I'm just going to cut right down the center, and this is really old paper, so that's why I was able to do that. Otherwise you might have to cut it. Like if it's a newer book, you might have to actually cut it. So I'll go ahead and do both of them. Basically, you just take the one page, you fold it about 2/3 of the way up, so you're left with 1/3 of the page. You can check on this side to make sure that your lines are straight, and crease. And then take the other side and then fold it up to the bottom line. Actually, that's too much. That's what I did a minute ago. Take this, and you want to leave at least like a centimeter or 1/4 of an inch or 1/2 inch, some sort of line right here, because this is where you're going to put the glue. So you're going to take this and you're going to try to manipulate the paper because it's old and it wants to go where it wants to. And you're going to fold this like so. Yeah, like it's just trying to go wherever it wants. I don't know if y'all can see that, but it's frustrating. Okay, so now you have this pocket that is not cooperating. There we go. Now you have a trifold paper. Now if you don't want it off to the side like that, you want it a little bit more centered. What you're going to want to do is you're going to make sure that the crease here is a little bit more centered. So we're going to go here. See, I like them though when they are off center. Sometimes I like them centered, sometimes I like them off centered. Basically, I just fold it and see, it's still off center. That's how much I do it off center. But if you want it to be exactly centered, you're going to want to measure it if that's the case. So what I did was I folded it up about 1 centimeter, just like that. Next one, folded it up about 1 centimeter, and I did this like assembly line style. I would fold each one of the pages in thirds like this, and then I would go back and I would fold each one of the little trifold pages up like this, and then I would go through and I would fold each of the little pages again down. Now I made this one just slightly bigger than the first one, the first fold. So this is the first fold and this is the second fold. And I left the torn page as my bigger fold because that's going to be my lid of my envelope. Okay. Once you do that, you take your scissors, make sure they're handy. You unfold everything. Okay? Actually, I lied. Don't unfold anything yet. You take your scissors here, and on the smaller fold, the one on the bottom, you want to taper that corner and go snip. And then you want to taper the other side and go snip. And then do the next one. And then go snip. Snip. Thank you. And then flip it over and taper it. Now you're going to go through and you're going to unfold all of your pieces of paper. Once you unfold all of your piece of paper, that tapered end on the bottom, you just cut straight along, because see where you folded it? You cut straight along that fold. And that comes off. And you do the other side. You cut straight along that fold. Just like so. Now with the top, it's going to be slightly different. So how I personally did it, there's 100 tutorials on how to create envelopes. How I personally did it was, you have this little line. I'm going to show you with the pencil here. So we are going to make a line with our scissors like this on both sides. So, yep, we're going to cut across that line right there. So again, you have your fold line here, okay? That's your fold line. And then this is going to be your cut line, okay? And you can draw it like this if you want, or you can just eyeball it. I normally just eyeball it. If it's perfectly straight, then I have turned into a robot. But most of the time, it's not, okay? So you should be able to see that. I will zoom in so you guys can see those two lines right there. And that's where we're going to cut. And then once you cut that, you're going to cut straight up this line right here. Okay? Just like so. Hey, don't go anywhere. I'll keep all my trash together. Okay? So we're going to cut here. Just cut straight to the crease, just like so. And then you're going to cut that little line right there, just like so. You can do the other side. And once you've done enough of these, you'll start to get to the point where you don't need to make that line anymore. You just kind of cut it. Okay, just like that. Do the next one. It should be unfolded. Folded itself back up. And again, you're going to cut the tabs off the bottom. Just like so. Cut the other tab off the bottom. Just like so. Hope that it doesn't fly at you like that one just did. Again, you're not going to cut on this line here. You can, but how I'm showing you how to do it is you're going to cut just a little bit off to the side, just like that angle. Okay, you're going to do that on both sides. Okay, try to keep in camera, and then cut the top. Snip. And then again on this side, you're going to snip the top. And you're going to cut the side to an angle. Okay? And then you are done cutting. So the next part of the assembly line for me was to glue. So I used tacky glue for this because it dries semi-quick, but it's super thick and it is, it's a little bit more, I guess it's cheaper than Fabri-Tac, honestly, and it works perfectly for this project. But it's not the wet glue. I don't use the wet glue. Of course it's wet. It's not quite as wet as the white glue. You can use this if you have it. It works perfectly fine if you have it. I've already discussed how I use the white glue, so it works just as fine. I personally, for this particular portion, use the tacky glue. So I found this one, I think at Walmart, which is really neat because it's upside down. And of course, I'm just going to throw the lid on the floor, and then it doesn't do any good. But then you just put a line right there on the edge and press, set aside. Next, you do the same thing. You put a line of glue right on the edge, and if you get it on the card itself like I just did, just wipe it off. Press, I did not put enough glue. That's really thin. Press and set aside. And you just go through the whole assembly line like that. And then you're ready for the next step. Next step is the bottom. So then you take a piece of glue. You take your glue and you just go across the bottom here. And that's one thing I do like about Fabri-Tac, or not Fabri-Tac, about tacky glue, is you really don't need a lot. Like a tiny bit will do so much. Okay, and then your next one. Again, right now you're gluing the tapered edges, not the top. The top edges that are still squared, we're going to leave those open. Now, you could also glue this first. Like you could glue these pages, these side pages. Let's see if I can undo this. Like you could glue this to here if you wanted. I personally prefer to have this tab on the outside because then whatever I'm sticking in the pocket is not going to get stuck on this tab. That's why I prefer it, and I think it looks cool. Get some glue there. Fold it down. And then you want to get whatever kind of corner rounder you have. Doesn't matter, it doesn't have to be this one. Take your corner rounder. I am using a 1/2 inch on this one. It's kind of a bigger pocket. And I'm going to stick it right in the corner here. And I'm gonna go clunk. And then I'm gonna go glunk. You can actually do multiples at once. Like you can stick multiple pages. Just make sure that the edges here, the whole pocket doesn't have to be lined up, just the edges here. So you go through, line up your edges, stick it in there in the corner, and punch. And then same thing on this side. You line up your edges here, and then you make sure they stay lined up, because see, here they're lined up, but here they're not, because the pocket's not exactly the same size, which that's okay. Because I don't know about you, but I'm not a robot. And then you want it to cooperate with your puncher, and then you punch. And now, depending on how many pockets you have in your assembly line, I just had 2. Then once your once your tabs are punched, you're done. I don't necessarily like inking everything all at one time. 90% of the time I have ink projects. So for me personally, to ink everything would be fun. But I don't necessarily ink all of them all the time. So I'm going to leave these uninked. And if you wanted to ink everything all at one time, that would be your next step, would be to ink everything. These that I did earlier, I did ink all of, only because there's a small handful. I've already used at least one, I think. So they're super tiny, as you can see here, super tiny, and like that. And then there's the more traditional sizes here. And this is all based on how you fold it. Where you fold it, how you fold it, the overlap that you have. Like this overlap is a decent size overlap. And then these two are actually vertical. So instead of taking your page here and folding it like this, I took it and folded it like this. Obviously I didn't use this, but this is kind of smaller and it's white. But that is this pocket here. You can put bookmark in there, you can put all kinds of stuff. And I did leave the tab a little bit bigger. I made this tab a little bit smaller. But that is that. And that is one of the things that you can do with your book pages. So you can make envelopes. You can use these envelopes in Happy Mail. You can make them small enough like this, and you can put them in pocket letters, because I know pocket letters used to be a really big thing. I don't know if they still are. I've been out of the game for a minute. But you can put them inside pocket letters. You could even stack them like if you wanted to stack them and create like your own little embellishment, that would be really neat, and put that on top of something. But yeah, you could do so much with envelopes. Envelopes are fun to play with. So speaking of envelopes, something else that I did ink this one just to show you what it would look like. So this one is a signature envelope, and what I mean by that is it is able to go straight into your signature, and you have an envelope on both sides of your signature. Okay, so same thing I did with the envelopes, I did with this one. I made an assembly line. I took an entire book apart. I'm going to show you the book covers that I used. I used two different ones, two different sizes. So this one's called Joyful Songs. I believe this was printed in 1970. I don't have the copyright page anymore. It's somewhere in my envelopes. Same with this one. I don't have the copyright page, and I don't remember what this one said it was. But they're both music books. This one's Joyful Songs. This one, Thy Will Be Done. And as you can see, they are different sizes. So I will show you on this one, because I was a goofball and left a single sheet undone or unglued. Actually, no, I have a couple of them. So we can do the assembly line with a couple of them. I'm not going to do too many because I don't want the video to be like 9 hours long. So we're going to just pretend these are not folded anymore, and they're just still in their little signature thing. Okay, let's go to Make Believe Land, and we have our book, and we're going to go and we're going to open our book. We're going to take our staples out here. Okay, we're going to pry them off. If you have a staple remover, scissors, you could use a blade. If you use a blade, please be careful. You can use your fingernails. I use my fingernails. These I did not use my fingernails for, because I don't know if you can see those little brown dots. Those are rust. That's how old this book is. Those are rust. So I used scissors. I just took them and pried them open. And that's it. So you take your staples out, or you cut your thread depending on how it's bound together, and then you start taking your signatures out. So once you take your signatures out, you have pages that look similar to this. They're whole pages, and then you take one page at a time, one single page at a time. You fold up, and I left I would say I folded up about a third, and then I folded down to this line here, this bottom line. I made sure to use the same reference each time. No matter how big this fold is, when I folded it over, it always matched this bottom line right here. Right here. You see that? Match that bottom line right there. So then you fold it over, fold it in half, set it aside. Next page, fold up to however tall you want it. Wherever you want that fold, wherever you want that's going to be, that's how you fold it up. And honestly, I don't ever measure these. I eyeball them. I always just eyeball them. The only thing I measure, if you will, is when I fold it back down. I try to keep it at the same general mark each time. So then I fold it back over, right across that mark. Make sure that's nice and lined up. You crease it, fold it across the signature bend, and set it aside. And the last page, you fold it up, crease it, fold it down, crease it, fold it across the signature bend, and set it aside. Once you get all of your stacks done, so I have a couple left in mine. So once you get all of your stacks done, then you go through and you fold up. So I normally do about 2 to 3 centimeters, or let's see, what is that? I don't know, I have to measure it. It is about 5/8, 7/8, about 7/8 of an inch, or 2.5 centimeters. So it was about 3. So fold up. I do not measure it. I was measuring it for the people that, you know, prefer measurements, which I don't have any measurements for you in this other than what I just gave you. So we're going to do that again since I was yapping. Make sure that your fold is away from you. Take your one side, fold it up thereabouts almost an inch. Okay, flip it over and do the next one. When you do the next one, you're going to make sure that fold is right along the fold that you did. That way, your pockets will remain somewhat even. And if you don't want them even, change the folds. That's all you got to do. So if for whatever reason, I'm not going to crease this because I want mine to be even. But if for whatever reason you want your fold to be like this big and have a nice big pocket on, or a smaller pocket on this side, and then you flip it over and you want, you know, this pocket to be this big, then this is what you're going to look like. You're going to have this pocket and then this pocket. See what I'm saying? So like I said, I like mine to be, you know, as even as possible, which is kind of weird for me because, as you may or may not know, I like things that are asymmetry. And then you just keep going until your little assembly line is finished. And I have a few more, so I'm going to go ahead and do those with you guys. I'm not going to sit here and cut all of them with you because that does take a little bit of time. So I'm going to finish this up here. I have a couple more. And this is how, I mean, honestly, I do this while I'm sitting here playing a video game with my husband. Like, we play League of Legends on the computer, and there's a little bit of downtime in it. So, like, you wait for games to queue up because you're playing with other people or whatever. So we'll be playing video games together, and this is what I do in my downtime. I create things like this. And before I know it, they are completely finished. So, now that I have my assembly line finished with this part, I'm going to take each one. These are still folded down. I'm going to look up, make sure I'm still recording because my camera shut off earlier for whatever reason. And then I'm going to start the cutting process. So all of these I did, well, all of these I just did with you. Like, it took me a couple minutes to do all those. And then yesterday I did these along with these. Okay. So I'm going to show you a couple of these. I'm not going to go over all of them because, like I said, that would take some time. And I'm going to move them not right there. So you take these, you mark the corners, or I'm sorry, I lied. You take these, you unfold it. And remember how earlier I was telling you to taper the sides here and to go into that corner right there? That's what we're gonna do on all 4 sides. So I'm gonna do one with you. You remember you have your crease that goes all the way down here, okay? That's what we're cutting that off, but we're not cutting there. We're gonna taper just slightly, okay? And we're gonna do that on all 4 sides. So we're gonna cut. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. Please don't get stuck on the, it has to be straight, it has to be perfect, because you, my dears, are not robots. I hate to break it to you. One of my really good friends, she's like this. She's like, you know, it has to be perfect. Oh my God, it's not perfect. I'm like, would you just hush? It's beautiful. Stop it. But yeah, she's funny like that. And I understand that there are people like that. And because of those people like that is why I very much encourage you to live humanly and just enjoy the process. And like I said, I will sit here and I will do this while, you know, waiting for the queue times for my, you know, my husband and I to play that video game. And then once those are tapered up, and this is what this does. Let me show you guys. this is what this does. Instead of going through with a punch, that was a terrible idea because it's got print on it. Oh, this works. I can get it out. So instead of going through with a punch to punch the little circle right here, it has that taper. You see it right there? And so it makes getting in and out of the pocket a lot easier. This piece of paper is too big for this pocket, otherwise I'd show you. So once that's done, you're gonna do this. You're gonna unfold everything. Let me set this one aside. You're gonna unfold. You're gonna open up, and you're gonna taper this side, this side, this side, and this side. Okay? We're gonna do that together, and it's not gonna take any time. And then you're gonna cut straight across the edge there. And if it gets stuck, just yank it. Again, I'm not stuck on perfection. See, to me, there's a difference between looking neat and clean and looking perfect, because I don't expect anything of mine to look perfect. I do expect it to look neat and clean, well, when it's supposed to. I have one journal that looks not neat and clean, but that was the intention. I made it look very torn and raggedy and such like that. I don't know. I guess there's a difference between being sloppy and being perfect, because I don't expect anything of mine to be perfect. I do expect it to be not sloppy. Does that make sense? So once that's done, you're done with your assembly line. You're gonna fold everything back up, doom, 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 just like that. Okay, so now we have our assembly line done. Voila! Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna unfold it to this point only. We're gonna take this glue, and remember how I said that I measured this fold up to that point? Now we're going to put the glue in that open spot right there, all the way across. You can leave right on the fold. I normally leave right on the fold open, like I don't put glue right there. And then you're going to fold. I put the paper there so you guys can see. Then you're going to fold down, and if you have a little bit of extra glue like me, just wipe it off. Wipe your hands, wash your hands. Fold on the signature crease, set aside. We're going to set that aside, and we're going to do the next one. We're going to open up. We're going to open up. We're going to put our line of glue here, and skip the crease here. Hello, here, hello, here. There we go. We're gonna fold over, press down, fold across, and put in our assembly line. Okay, now once that part's done, we're going to take our pieces here. We're going to line up the top edge and the side edge. You can do multiple pages at once. Like you can do all, well, not all, I only have 2 pockets here. You can do both pockets at the same time, which will be a total of 4 envelope lids. Then you're going to take your punchy thing that you opened before you grabbed that, hopefully. You're going to take your punchy thing, and you're going to make sure that they're nice and lined up on the side here and the side on the bottom. Line it in your corner and go punch. And then you're going to line it up over here. Okay, I'm just going to slide it down like that. Line up the 4 corners, grab the 4 corners, punch, and you're done. So once that's done, now you have 2 signature envelopes. And signature envelopes means that you can take this and you can set it right inside of your signature however you see fit. You can put them side by side like this if you have a larger signature. Like this journal is larger, so this would fit side by side like this, and that would be super cute to have, you know, 2 envelopes. You could use these in traveler's notebooks, because the traveler's notebooks have like the little things that you can just like slide. I don't know what they're called. They have the little bands that you can slide your little signatures under. But I thought that was really cute. It made things very easy. And that's it. And then your assembly line is finished. And once your assembly line is finished, like this one is finished, then you can go through and you can ink the edges if you'd like. Like I just inked the one because that's a lot of that's a lot of stuff. So I just inked the one. I inked all the way on each side, just like that. And these are bigger because, like I showed you earlier, I did use 2 different sizes of books. One was larger, and this is from the larger book. I can't show you the pages because, well, they're all done. I did leave the flaps open like this when I have them stacked, just because it'll get bulky on this side if I close them up like that. You could add attachments if you so chose. I did not. I simply left them as is. But this would look super cute in any of your journals or notebooks or scrapbooks. So that is what I have done with my book pages. I do plan on making some more things with the book pages. I just haven't done it yet. I only just started getting back into crafting maybe a couple weeks ago, so bear with me. And hopefully I can get some more projects for you guys going and show you guys some more stuff to do with these book pages and such. So I hope you guys liked this video. I hope it was entertaining for you, and I hope you learned something. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, bye guys.